What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is BetSided's team going through the Week 1 NFL slate with some of our early lanes and also taking a look at Week 2 in college football. Ben Heisler, Ian McMillan, Donovan Smoot, and Peter Dewey. We are all here together once again. And last week, for the college football side, NFL wasn't going on. We were all in on totals. This week, we're breaking it up a little bit more and going with some spreads. And for anybody that's new into the world of betting, basically, when you're talking about a point spread, that team needs to win or cover the spread by a certain amount. So for example, let's say you take the Rams at -7.5 against the Bears on Sunday Night Football. As long as the Rams win by 7 points or more, they're going to be able to cover the spread and your bet wins. Conversely, if you take the Bears at +7.5, as long as the Bears lose by 7 points or less, then your bet covers. So we're going to start in the NFL. Ian, I'm going to start with you. You got Arizona heading to Tennessee. They are 3-point dogs on the road. Total sitting at 52. And also, if you read Ian's breakdown over at FanSided's NFL preview, you might have a general indication on how he thinks the Titans are going to do this year. But for this week in particular, how do you have this game being played out?
Yeah, Ben, you just explained the spread, but I'm going with an even easier bet. I'm going with a money line bet. I need this team to win outright, and I'm going with the Cardinals as underdogs at +135. Like you mentioned, Ben, I'm fading the Titans this year. I think we're going to see some regression from them in 2021. Last year, teams put up an average of 398.4 yards per game against them. The only teams that were worse in that category were the Texans, Jaguars, and Lions. Not good company to be in. They're also 28th in opponent passing yards per game. And in week 1, they're going to be facing this Cardinals offense, which might have, arguably, you could argue it, has one of the best receiving cores in the NFL with DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, and Christian Kirk. So I think the Cardinals are going to run away with this one. I think they're going to score a lot of points. I'm not even going to look at the spread. I'm just taking them straight up on the money line, +135.
Love the pick. Don't sleep on Rondale Moore in Arizona as part of that wide receiver crew. Really like the pick there from you, Ian. Let's go to you, Donovan. You have the 49ers. They are 7.5-point road favorites going to Detroit to take on Dan Campbell, Jared Goff. And if you can name another Detroit Lion, certainly I give you all the credit in the world because not a lot of people know them heading into this season. The total in that game at 45. Jimmy Garoppolo, the starting quarterback for the 49ers at this point. Big road line to lay, Donovan, considering that they're heading on the road, West Coast team to Detroit. But this is one that I expect the 49ers to play well. I think you do too.
This is easy money. They're going to kill Detroit. Like Detroit's going to be one of the worst teams this year. They drafted a bust in Penei Sewell at offensive line. Jared Goff is not a good quarterback. I'm all in on the Niners as well this season. I think that last year was ruined by injuries and they were ruined by a lot of COVID cases. Everybody's back this year. I think we're going to see a very, very deep and fun San Francisco 49ers team. I think that starts this week. And they're going to run away with this game. It's not going to be fun to watch.
7.5 points, an easy cover from Donovan. I was not prepared for a Penei Sewell might be a bust take, but we can have that conversation a little bit later, but it's certainly intrigued by the pick. Peter, let's go to you. You got a little bit of a Sunday afternoon game with the Broncos headed to New Jersey to take on the Giants. Denver has a new quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. He gets his first start on the road. The Broncos are 3-point road favorites against the Giants. Pretty low total in this game of 42. How do you see it all playing out?
Yeah, as my dear friend Ian wrote on BetSided, Teddy Bridgewater is beautiful for bettors. The man is 36-14 against the spread in his career as a starter. So I'm going to take the Broncos as 3-point favorites on the road in this one. The Giants, I don't believe in them. I don't think Daniel Jones is that good. They had the second worst offense in terms of points scored in all of the NFL last season. And, the Broncos lost a lot of guys last year to injury. They returned Von Miller. They added Kyle Fuller. They added Patrick Surtain the second. They added Ronald Darby. Cortland Sutton's back on offense. And I think Bridgewater, he gives you a more of a floor than Drew Lock does. He's not going to play them out of the game. And I think the Broncos honestly could be a sleeper team in the AFC, maybe not as a playoff team, but to bounce back from a 5-11 campaign. So give me Denver to cover and Teddy B to continue and stay in Bettor's sweet spot this year.
He's been great for bettors with an outstanding record against the spread. I like that pick on the Denver side as well. Possibly could add some intriguing competition in the AFC West along with the Chiefs and the upstart Chargers this year. For my pick, guys, I'm going to go with Seattle. This line has actually moved 5.5 points when they consensus opened at +3 on the road at Indianapolis. It's now at Seattle -2.5 over in this game. And the thing is, Russell Wilson has an opportunity here, guys, to really make a statement. There was a lot of offseason drama with this team. They go to Indianapolis. They're a bit of a mess. Carson Wentz has had some conversations about why he's not getting the vaccine. You have their all-star linebacker and Darius Leonard talking about it as well. Quentin Nelson, their outstanding guard, may not even play. I think watching this line move is very intriguing, to the point where I don't mind having Seattle as the favorites here. Frank Reich is also 0-3 in season openers as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Just does not set up well for him, especially with all sorts of movement right now and inconsistencies leading into the start of the season. So those are our NFL picks. Again, for plenty more, you can always head over to fansided.com/betsided. There's picks, there's props, there's contests, analysis, whatever you need to be able to get ready for week 1 in the NFL. As for college, Ian, I'm going to go back to you to kick things off for our week 2 college predictions. And we're going to start with an SEC versus ACC matchup. You got Rocky Top Tennessee heading to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh to take on the Panthers. The line has shifted in this game from the Panthers -3.5 now down to -3. So what's caught your eye in this particular matchup?
Yeah, I guess on today's show, I'm basically just going to fade the entire state of Tennessee. So Tennessee fans, don't hate me, but I'm taking Pittsburgh here, -3. I think Tennessee's new head coach here, Josh Heupel, I think his offense relies on the run game. And that's kind of contradictory to what a lot of people think, because it is a high-powered passing offense. But if you look at his past numbers as a head coach, especially when he was with UCF, the games and the seasons where he isn't able to establish the runs were the worst seasons and games that he had as a head coach. Even though it's a passing offense, it relies on the run game. And Pittsburgh has one of the best rushing defenses in the entire country. Last season, they only allowed 2.8 yards per carry. That's the 4th lowest mark in the entire country. And then in week 1, they had an easy matchup, but they only allowed 1.8 yards on the ground. So I think Pittsburgh's going to be able to slow down this rushing attack, stop Tennessee's offense, and go on to win and cover this game. Pittsburgh -3. Love this bet. My favorite college bet so far this season.
It'd be a good opportunity for the ACC to bounce back after a rough week 1. So hopefully they can get themselves going in week 2. Big Ten action along with the Big 12 is where Donovan's going to go for his game. State of Iowa has a pair of top 25 teams, with Iowa going to Iowa State. The Cyclones are -4.5 in this game. Did not cover, though, at week 1 at home in their game against Northern Iowa. Meanwhile, Iowa at home against Indiana blew out the 17th ranked Hoosiers. So it's a big game. College game day is heading to Ames, Iowa for this one, Donovan. Who do you like in the Battle of Iowa this week?
Listen, I like Iowa State. I'm going with Big 12 football. Look, I know that they didn't look good last week against Northern Iowa. Like you said, they didn't cover. But look, they're at home. They get the week 1 jitters out. And listen, they get a big time matchup and an opportunity to make a big statement. Iowa, listen, I know that they're good. And I don't mean to harp on you and your, Indiana Hoosiers, but they got smacked last week. And so I don't know, just how good Iowa is. I want to see them on the road in this test. And so, but I do think that Iowa State, and and so I do think that Iowa State and that defense, makes a statement this week.
I think 2 really good defense going up against each other. Maybe the under another potential play in that matchup as well, and good opportunity to fade the public a little bit with everybody seeing that big win from Iowa last week. Good opportunity to get on Iowa State after a lot of people might be down on them after week 1. Peter, you're going with the Texas Longhorns. They got a nice win at home in Steve Sarkisian's debut against Louisiana. And now they're heading on the road at Arkansas. We got another Big 12 SEC matchup. Why Texas in this matchup?
I mean, Texas is going to introduce itself to the SEC. They're going to be there at some point. You get a nice little cake matchup with Arkansas, who's 7-27 over the past 3 years. I know they beat Rice in their opener, but they were down 17-7 in the third quarter, and they came back with 31 unanswered to win. Can't really take much from that game. The Razorbacks allowed 192 yards a game on the ground last year, and Texas's best player is their running back, Bijan Robinson. He had 103 yards in week 1. Hook 'em horns. SEC's got to get ready, man.
I like it. My pick is going to be, we're going to go ahead and muck this up with a little bit of Maction, where you have Toledo +16.5 going to Notre Dame on the road. The Irish offense, I thought looked pretty good, maybe surprising with a new quarterback, the Wisconsin transfer, and Jack Cohn throwing for over 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. But they couldn't put FSU away. And normally Notre Dame's defense is the talk of that team. They really struggled. And Toledo's an experienced veteran team. And this is kind of a letdown opportunity for Notre Dame. Yes, they're at home. It's the home opener. But remember, Notre Dame played on Sunday night. They have to now play on a Saturday. Opportunity for Toledo to get a little bit more rest. Brian Kelly had some strange things to say post-game about executing his team, and one thing led to another, and it just feels like a letdown spot for Notre Dame. I like the Rockets here at plus 16.5. That just seems like too many points to give them. All the rocket emojis going up for this game. I think Toledo ends up covering the spread. This is just a part of what we do over at BetSided. If you enjoy this type of stuff, please go check us out, fansided.com/BetSided. If you want to follow us on social, we are on Twitter and on TikTok at BetSided as well. And for more videos just like this, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button on YouTube, as well as subscribe to our YouTube page. So for Ian, for Donovan, for Peter, I'm Ben. We'll talk to you soon. Good luck, everybody.